A sign of the times in Africa, in Lesotho land, as it was called when their first chief, Mshweshwe, defied the Boer settlers all around him in this enclave of South Africa. Now it can look back on over a year of independence as the Kingdom of Lesotho, a proud, poverty-stricken mountain state entirely surrounded by the riches and the racial restrictions of South Africa. How is it making out? The first urgent need is for decent roads to open it up. The Lesotho people live mostly in mud hut villages linked at the best by crude mule tracks. Their exports of wool and mohair are woefully inadequate. Cattle dung is used to bind the mud plaster on their ondabel huts, or it's burned for fuel, which is scarce. So the land becomes ever more impoverished. For months at a time, the villagers have to send their herds off to the mountains to find some sort of pasture with 7-year-old herdsboys who fend for themselves in the wilds and greet passers-by with brave salutes. Erosion is this country's curse and challenge. Acres of overcropped topsoil can be lost in just one thunderstorm. Perversely, it can be beautiful. It is subsistence farming for the most part and primitive, but the country's progressing. Tractors and technical know-how are creeping in, not always with immediate success. They've now started modern training courses in agriculture and engineering and a whole range of technical fields. The Basotos, with the highest literacy rate in Africa, are quick to learn and eager, though they always were expert at thatching. Village industries are a new thing here, and they're spreading. For these are energetic people, keen to make themselves a place in the modern world. But such is their poverty, this mohair they weave is one of their main exports, though progress is well on the way. Basotos are now servicing the aircraft that are essential in a land with few roads. And see the precision drill of their new police recruits. Lesotho shares this university with Botswana and Swaziland. Its gleaming church links their dreams with their debt to the missionaries who first gave them schools and hospitals. Oh yes, Lesotho is hacking out a new roadway into a bold tomorrow. Whichever way you look, there's change and much needed development. In Maseru, the capital, there are some fine buildings arising, although it's still something of a shanty town. This is Main Street, the hub of the country's nearest approximation to a big town. Sad that even those oranges have to be imported, like the barber's clippers, and come to that even the cardboard awning over his head. A man's car drawn up at his doorway. There's an anomaly, but they're happy people, easy to get on with, full of zest and friendliness. It's hard to remember this is life in the capital city, but some activities are universal. You find there's no colour bar here, no resentment, though Britain gave these people little more than football fever. In Maseru's one and only bar, there's easy-going integration, though few Europeans can learn the draft-like game they play with beer bottle tops. "10 miles away, thatch like that decorous bar covering betokens a truly primitive life, but the farmers are learning. Here they even plant trees and keep turkeys. Women get their fine figures by carrying loads on their heads because men have other things to do. Consider this. That man with his Basotho blanket is off to work in South Africa's gold mines. He has to. 100,000 of them go every year. Otherwise, they would starve. The money they send back is a crucial part of the country's revenue. The Orange River has gouged great beauty out of these mountains. Tourists will flock to Lesotho to ride in these highlands, fish for trout in their streams, once the country has been opened up to them, even to gasp at the etched spectacle of mass erosion. Lesotho's Maluti Mountains, spurring from the great Drakensbergs, are breathtaking in their loveliness, and the last memory the gold mine recruits will carry away from their highland home. Way below them, among the scattered villages, there are clinics where mothers are persuaded by free issues of foreign aid food to take their children for inoculations and a checkup. Here, a little girl has a minor operation out on the bare mountainside. The nurse has ridden out to meet this doctor on horseback. The doctor makes his rounds by plane. The patients come miles on foot to see him. Lesotho needs more doctors, more know-how, more overseas aid. And as it happens at London Airport, some flying doctors of a different sort are on their way there. The Lesotho High Commissioner is seeing off a team of British surgeons on a goodwill visit to his country to operate and demonstrate modern techniques to the doctors there. From their touchdown at Johannesburg Airport, it's a good long drive to Lesotho, where they're offering their all-too-brief gesture of help. The frontier sign says, "Enter in peace." Waiting to receive these eminent surgeons from England is the Minister of Health, the Honourable Patrick Motta, outside their fine new hospital. The top gynecologist from a London hospital does a cesarean, and an eye surgeon lectures doctors and students before grafting eyes he has brought from back home. A leading plastic surgeon from Guy's Hospital and an African doctor discuss an X-ray, while the hospital superintendent, Dr. Laboma, takes another of these flying visit doctors into the children's ward. The English doctor had never seen a baby as emaciated as this little chap. He too was learning of the crying problems of a country where even Her Majesty the Queen was happy to have her son, the Royal Prince, examined by an orthopedic specialist from Britain as the King looked on. The King is an Oxford man, but he wears that traditional Basuto blanket, which keeps out alike the morning mountain frost and the midday heat. And he puts on the time-honored Basuto hat when he gets ready for a ride. Like all his subjects, he's a fine horseman, for this is a country where horses are needed. A king rides among his people, his poor, proud and pleasant people, who are living, hoping and working for a more prosperous tomorrow in their lovely land of eroded hills and scenic vistas, with its high, compelling mountains and flashing streams.